Hi, everyone, and welcome to this webinar organized by WeUni in partnership with Accenta School of Management. My name is Florencia. It's nice to meet you all, and I will be your host for today's event on behalf of WeUni. I see here that the first people are already starting to join in. We are going to wait a few minutes before starting to allow everyone to connect. In the meantime, feel free to say hi in our chat and please tell us where are you from, and we are really curious to know where you are hearing us from. First of all, I want to thank everyone for joining us and thank our panelists for being here with us today. As you can see, I'm not alone here. I want to introduce you all to our main speakers. Today, we have a very interesting roundtable. Let's say hi to Fuat Ramazanov. He's IBM Director, expert in advancing knowledge and creativity in higher education, and he's also the International Business Manager of the Bachelor of Business Administration. Also, we have here Brent Smoker. He's Vice President of Recruitment of Accenda. Welcome, both of you. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
So, what we have called today's webinar Vancouver Sport, Briding Canada to the Global Market. And we are going to explore what makes the Port of Vancouver unique in terms of geography, capacity, and connectivity, and why it is a strategic asset in global commerce. By the end of this masterclass, you will be able to understand how the Port of Vancouver serves a critical gateway for economic growth and international trade. You will also have the opportunity to interact with our speakers and ask them questions directly. After the presentation, we will have a Q&A session where you'll be able to ask questions to the panelists. So I recommend you not to be shy and just type all of your questions in the Q&A section here on Zoom. And we will go through them at the end of the webinar. Also, for those who are interested in receiving a certificate of attendance by WeUni for this free webinar, stay tuned because we will post the link to get the certificate at the end of the session. So I think we are able to start now. Welcome to those who just joined us, and without further ado, I am now leaving the floor to our panelists for their presentation. Enjoy this webinar and see you later.
Just to make sure that everyone see my screen sharing before I begin. Yes, all good.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this lovely introduction. And we in Canada usually start our meeting by doing a land acknowledgement. Land acknowledgement is the way how we pay respect to people who've been living on this land for generations. So I would like to acknowledge that Accenda School of Management is situated on traditional land of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. It was introduced that I'm the Director of International Business Management Program. So International Business Management at Accenda School of Management is about international trade, is about export, import, and supply chain logistics and transportation. So these are the subjects that we teach. And I was thinking about the topic to choose for this discussion, and I decided to choose my favorite one about the Port of Vancouver. So Port of Vancouver is the largest Canadian port, and the city of Vancouver is the city of the largest Canadian port. So my presentation today will be focused on the port. All right. I would like also to mention before I begin that the materials created for the educational purposes only. All the photos today that you will see in the presentation were taken by me during the different field trips with students from our school. This is what we usually do for our students. And if you decide to make screenshots of this presentation, feel free to do so. Just make sure to provide proper reference if you use it for educational purposes. And you can use it for purposes other than education. And from this moment, I'll pass over to my colleague, Brent.
Awesome. Thank you, Fuat. Good morning, everyone. My name is Brent Schmoker. As mentioned at the beginning, I look after student recruitment. So if any of you are interested in learning more about Accenda and potentially applying to be a student someday and be an international student in Vancouver, it will be me and my team that help you along that journey. I just want to give you a little bit of information about Exenda as an institution before we pass on to the really interesting presentation that Fuat has prepared for us today. So Exenda is located in the vibrant business hub of downtown Vancouver, British Columbia, on the west coast of Canada. As you'll see on our presentation slides, our identity as an institution is connecting people and professions. So all of our courses, all of our educational experiences, everything you would do outside of the classroom, it's really aimed at giving you the skills and knowledge you need to find a job, whether that be in Canada, back home in your home country, or anywhere in the world. We are a private, independent degree granting institution, and we offer 8 different types of bachelor's degrees. So the majority of our students either join Exenda after graduating from high school in their home country. We also have students that may already be studying in Canada and want to transition to Exenda to complete a bachelor's degree. We have 4 intakes per year. So there's the option to start in January, April, in the fall, typically end of September, and also in the summer. So our next group of students will join us in early July. Most of our bachelor's programs would take 4 years for you to complete, but if you've already done some post-secondary or beyond high school level coursework, we have a really great process for evaluating what type of courses you've already done at the bachelor's level, and we do everything possible to award you with transfer credit so that you don't have to repeat any of your learning. We have very affordable tuition and a very supportive package of financial aid as well. So we have grants, we have a laptop grant to help you buy a computer to do your coursework. We have scholarships for great performance in the classroom after you've joined and been at Exenda for a while. And I'm happy to answer more questions about what that looks like towards the end of our presentation today. It's important to note that all of our bachelor's degrees are eligible for international students to apply for the postgraduate work permit in Canada, PGWP for short. And we have a very good success rate of 98 to 99% of our applicants being approved for that. And I think that speaks to the level of excellent preparation that you received during your degree and the way that our courses are aligned to career outcomes. And I already mentioned our location in downtown Vancouver. Another catchphrase that you'll see on our backgrounds is that at Exenda, we pride ourselves on being an international institution with faculty from all around the world, also students from around the world. We have very large populations of students from different parts of Southeast Asia, like the Philippines. We have many students from India, Nepal, different parts of Africa, and especially Latin America, Mexico, South America. We're very excited to welcome students from all around the world, and you'll find a home in Vancouver, which is a very international and multicultural, vibrant city. At the same time, we have about 1,500 students, so we pride ourselves on giving a lot of individual attention and really making sure that you get the support you need so that you can follow your educational and career dreams. There's a little bit of information here about our Bachelor in Business Administration. You'll be able to choose from 7 different specializations, and Fuat leads the specialization in International Business Management. So he'll be giving us more of a preview and exposure into that specialization. But we also have real estate management, marketing management, management information systems, which is a little bit more about data analytics and working with technology in the world of business. We have a specialization in human resource management, accounting, financial management, and then those of you that maybe aren't sure which of those areas is most interesting to you, you can join us in the general business management concentration first, and then maybe declare one of the other specializations in year 2 or year 3 of your program. And at the bottom, you have the logos of a number of professional organizations. The coursework that you completed at Exenda will help you save time and be very well prepared to apply for things like the FITT certification, CPA, CPHR, CITT, CMA. All of those will look great on your resume when you go to apply for internships and job placements upon graduation. The only other program that I'll mention before I pass it over to Fuat is our Bachelor in Hospitality Management. Vancouver is also a hub for hospitality and tourism because it's one of the most beautiful places in all of North America. Getting ready to host the World Cup in about a year and regularly receiving travelers and tourists from all around the world. So it's also a great place to study and learn about the hospitality industry. So I think that's all I've got. Just wanted to give you kind of a feel and taste for what Exenda is as an institution. So now I'm very happy to pass it over to Fuat so we continue our presentation.
Thank you, Brent, for this great summary. And again, I say hi to students who just joined us. And my name is Fuat. I'm the Director of International Business Management Program at Exenda. And my talk today will be about the Port of Vancouver, which is the largest Canadian port and which facilitates trade, Canadian trade. Brent mentioned about our affiliation with different organizations. I'll just quickly mention FITT and CITT. These are particular organizations that focused on international trade, which is FITT, and CITT focused on supply chain and logistics. So our students who study at Exenda at International Business Management Program, they complete their study and being fully eligible to sit for the exams or receive designation from these institutions. And in Canada, designation really help in job findings. These organizations also help Exenda organize different field trips and invite our students to different events. So our students benefit from that. And pictures that you will see later today in presentation were taken by me with our students going to some of these events. All right, I'll just move to my agenda. So this presentation will not be all about Port of Vancouver because of time limit, but I'll try my best to cover as much as I can. I'll first start with the discussion of what makes Port of Vancouver such a important port in Canada, and geography is part of it. I'll then explain the terminal work because what we say a port is usually a group of different terminals that support the operation of the port. I'll also discuss the export and import commodities that comes through the port and also how port connects to different modes of transportation. I hope this will be interesting discussion for you. I didn't know that the function of the answering in the chat is kind of disabled, so I will probably ask in question. I'll give you time to think about it, and then I'll continue my discussion. So my first question, did you know that the Port of Vancouver handles 1 out of every $3 of Canadian trade in goods outside of North America? And when I say North America, that also includes United States and Mexico. But if we exclude these two countries, so every $1 out of every $3 in trade generated in Canada is actually happening and coming through the Port of Vancouver. This shows the significance of this port for Canada as a country, but it also has an explanation, and I mentioned it's geography. So I did 3 screenshots from the Google Earth. I know they're not really large, but I hope you can see them on your screens. And on the right, I have a screenshot showing North America, so including Canada, United States, and Mexico. So Canada is the biggest trade partner of Canada is obviously US because we have the longest land border with the US. But outside the United States, our main trading partners are actually in Asia. And the reason for that, because Asia, especially for the past 25 years, has been developing very fast, including countries like China, South Korea, and Japan. South Korea and Japan have historically been developing, but especially recently China. And because when the country like China and other countries are growing, they obviously need to find a market for their products. And from in 80s and 90s, the trade of Canada with European countries has been declining. But that was also the time when China and Asian countries started developing, and at that time, trade with Asian countries started growing. And in the middle, we see the Pacific Ocean, that what connects Asia and North America. But I included this image of Pacific Ocean here is just to show that the distance between Asia and North America is actually shorter when the goods ship first to Canada. So Canada is geographically closer to Asia than United States. Okay, so, and this has an important significance when it comes to supply chain and logistics, especially in the past 10 years, what we call now Amazon effect. All the consumers in the world wants goods to be purchased and delivered pretty much right away, next day. So this is the habit we as consumers developed. And in the supply chain, this matters. So the Port of Vancouver is located, as I said, closer to the China than ports of Seattle and ports of Los Angeles. Port of Los Angeles and Long Beach are the largest ports in the North America, but it takes typically 3-4 days longer to get goods delivered to the ports compared to Port of Vancouver. And that's being said, the Port of Vancouver facilitates trade not only for Canada, but also for the United States. So some suppliers in Asia may ship their goods to Port of Vancouver, and from Port of Vancouver, it can be delivered by rail or truck to ports and cities inland in the United States. Canada also serves as the land bridge for goods being shipped from Asia to another part of Europe. So Canada's land is being used as a land bridge for this transportation. So to summarize, as I said, the Port of Vancouver is closest to other North American ports, except ports of Prince Rupert, which is also in BC, which is in the north of BC. And also, it ensures the fastest and efficient transportation, and in supply chain, speed and reliability and cost efficiency matter. So 1, 2, 3, 4 days time saving really matters and gives you a competitive edge. So Canadian ports really help achieve this edge. I'll speak a little bit more about the Port of Vancouver and its significance. So Canada is a trading nation. And when I say trading nation, it actually implies both export and imports. So Canada as a nation has abundance of natural resources. So you may know that Canada is among the leaders of producers of oil and gas. It's also a global leader in producing potash, and potash is the material that's used in production of fertilizers, and fertilizers is used in agriculture to grow food. And because global population is growing, so obviously there's a growing demand for Canadian potash, which is being exported through the Port of Vancouver. Canada is also the second largest producer of uranium, and uranium is used in producing electricity with zero emissions. So Canada is also leading, and some of this uranium is being exported through Port of Vancouver. Canada is also one of the largest producers of wheat and grain in the world, so they're also being exported to global markets in Asia, including countries like United Arab Emirates, Bangladesh, Malaysia, Indonesia, through the Port of Vancouver terminals. And Canada is also one of the leading countries in the export of wood and pulp materials, and they're also being exported through the Port of Vancouver. But Port of Vancouver not only facilitate export, it also facilitate imports. So Canada's export mostly natural resources, but imports different kind of ready-to-use products, machines, machinery, spare parts, and everyday household items. And they also being moved through the Port of Vancouver. So the port connects Canada to 170 plus global trading economies. So in the world today, we have slightly over 200 countries, and pretty much the Port of Vancouver connects Canada to majority of them. According to recent statistics, 2024, the Port of Vancouver handled nearly as much cargo as the Canada's next 5 ports combined, which means that the Port of Vancouver alone is bigger than the next 5 ports in Canada. And these are ports. One of these ports, as I mentioned, is located north of Port of Vancouver in our province, British Columbia. It's a port of Prince Rupert, but other ports are located on the east coast of Canada. They are Port of Montreal, Port of Halifax, and Port of St. John. Another significant advantage of Port of Vancouver is that it can accommodate some of the largest ships in the world. You may have heard the Panama Canal. So the Panama Canal has a specific width, and some ships need to pass through it. So, and because of that, the names of the ship that travel the world, they have names aligned with Panama Canal. Like, for example, Panamax ship or post-Panamax ship. The Port of Vancouver has the capacity to accommodate some of the largest ships that travel today in the world. Also, the Port of Vancouver facilitates approximately 80% of trade with the countries other than United States. I mentioned previously United States because of historical relations and natural land border is our biggest trading partner. But if we exclude United States from equation, 80% of trade is of Canada, the whole Canada, is facilitated through the Port of Vancouver, which again signifies its importance. It's also the fourth largest port in North America by tonnage, and the largest port is Port of Los Angeles, Port of Long Beach. The other big ports are in New York and New Jersey. And more importantly, the Port of Vancouver supports over 1,000 supplying jobs in British Columbia. So these are the jobs that directly affiliated with the ports. There are close to 1,000 tenants or partners of the Port of Vancouver. So these are the companies that facilitate like transportation, logistics, different services on the port, warehousing, inventory control, brokerage, all kind of services. And overall for Canada, it generates 138,000 jobs. So the goods that travel from Port of Vancouver go inland to Canada, to other provinces, including Alberta, including Saskatchewan, including other provinces, and the port generates the whole ecosystem of jobs in Canada. And it's also the North American most diversified port. So my next slide will speak to that. So these are the references if you would like to read more about the Port of Vancouver and its significance for Canada. Again, I didn't know about the chat was disabled, but I prepared the question for you. And so here's a question. What percentage of Asian manufacturing cars, automobiles that come to Canada actually goes through Port of Vancouver? So you may think for a second for yourself, just have one number in mind, 50%, 75%, 90%, and 99%. So if you say 99%, then you're right. Almost all cars from Asia come to Canada through Port of Vancouver. Again, and this is because of proximity. And it's only one terminal. We actually have two terminals, but one is being under repair now, under upgrade. So one terminal handles almost all the cars that come from Asia to Canada, including brands like Toyota, Subaru, Suzuki, Hyundai, all the brands you may have heard. Okay, so that shows the significance. Oh, actually, I see the Q&A. I see the answers. Sorry, my bad. So I see the answers. Great. Thank you. Yeah. So 100% of cars, almost all the cars come to Canada from the Port of Vancouver. All right. I mentioned previously that the Port of Vancouver is Canada's most diversified port, and you may consider this information as Port Economics 101 kind of course or workshop as well. So global ports, not only Vancouver ports, overall ports in the world, are defined based on the capacity or the type of cargo they can handle. And the abbreviation that is commonly used is ABC. Okay, I highlighted this by letters you see on the screen. So A stands for automobiles. So I mentioned automobiles already. Almost 100% of Asian cars come to Port of Vancouver. So Port of Vancouver can handle ships that move automobiles. There's a special type of ship called Aurora. It's a roll in, roll out. So the ships, the cars, or when I say automobile, it's not necessarily cars. It can also be trucks, can be large machinery, anything that moves on wheels, and anything that moves on wheels in the ship, roll in and roll out, that come to Port of Vancouver. So automobiles can be handled. The next one is break bulk and bulk. I'll need to explain that. So the ship that you see on the right is actually a bulk ship. Okay, so the bulk cargo typically refers to goods that shipped in large quantities without packaging. So these are the cargo that doesn't need any packaging and typically goes directly into the vessel or into the ship, as you see in this example. So examples can be grain, can be oil, can be canola, can be liquids like liquid oil. So anything that doesn't require packaging. And Canada is it's a global leader in producing some of the products that actually transported as bulk, including, for example, canola oil, including lentils. So Canada is one of the largest producers of lentils globally. This wasn't the case many years ago. It started apparently in 1970s, and today Canada is one of the largest. Canada is also one of the leaders in producing canola oil, which is used in cooking. So that's being exported also through Port of Vancouver. And then break bulk. So break bulk is something in between that goes into a container and goes into bulk ship. So break bulk typically called project cargo. That's something that the good example can be military equipment, can be machinery, something that really big in size or cannot really be put as a bulk or cannot be stored as a bulk and cannot go into a container. So the next one is container. Believe it or not, 90% of goods globally travel in containers in international trade. If you have your cell phone in front of you, chances are it was shipped one day in the container. Okay, if you have clothing like jackets, computers, table, desk, these goods very likely were shipped in the container. So Canada is a trading nation, as I said. So most of the goods that we receive in Canada from imports is about buying, export is about selling, just a reminder. So they come to Canada in containers, and we also sell in containers some products, but mostly we sell bulk products like natural resources, but we receive goods in containers. So the movement is very interesting. We sell natural resources, we receive finished products. It doesn't mean Canada doesn't sell finished products. We do, but the majority of products that we sell actually bulk products. And the last one is cruise. Yes, Brent mentioned that Canada is the also great tourist destination, and every year we have millions of tourists, especially after COVID now speaking up again. I think the last statistic I have seen was over a million of tourists coming to Canada by cruise. Okay, so that's again just a reminder ABC. So next time you hear a discussion about ports, keep in mind that ABC is typically what classifies ports. Not all ports in the world are capable of handling all of these ABCs. Okay, Port of Vancouver can. So that's what makes it a very unique port. For some of you who may not know Vancouver or haven't been here or haven't heard, so this is a little map of the area that we call the Lower Mainland. And right now I'm speaking and presenting from this area. I'm hovering over my mouse. So this is the downtown Vancouver, and this whole area is called the Lower Mainland. So this is different cities on this map. But as you can see, the whole city, the Port of Vancouver, is the port city. And the port, when I say port, it's actually the group of terminals that make the port a port. So in Port of Vancouver, we have 29 different terminals, and these are two automobile terminals. And I said before, one is going to upgrade, two break bulk, many bulk terminals. And I explained previously why is that, because Canada is a trading nation and we really need to ship our products to global markets. And we have container terminals, and we have one cruise terminal. Cruise terminal is nearby. If I just take a walk right now, 5-10 minutes away from my office, I'll immediately see this very large ships parked. At time, we may have 100,000 people coming to Vancouver, a very busy weekend. So this is happening. And I expect with World Cup approaching next year, we'll see cruise terminals arriving as well. And if you walk in the city, if you really like supply chain like me, you can go and you really enjoy the sea views, but you can also see different ships moving. The terminal that handles 100% of Asian cars is located, by the way, here. This is Onassis Island. So if you take a SkyTrain or any ride to this part of the city, you will likely see it on your way home. Yeah, so it's a very good question about environmental impact of these activities. I can actually say that the Port of Vancouver is very cautious about environmental issues. So it's one of the first port in North America that introduced some environmental programs for ships that dock at the port berths. So the ships that follow these guidelines, they typically pay less in terms of their parking fees. Okay, so we also protect the environment, especially whales. We have different fish, and we have some ecosystem here, so which they want to protect, and they take really good care of that, and they have special fees and discounts for ship that comply with that. It's also applied to the noise protection, so the ship that prefer to switch their engines. I'm not really expert in ship engines, but there's some requirements for them that comply with these requirements, so they also get they pay less in terms of their accommodation fees at the port. Good question. Thank you. Okay, so I will speak. I mentioned 29 terminals, and here's a picture of me going with my students to one of these terminals. So this is Neptune Terminal. It's located in the North Vancouver area, and it's handles two commodities, bulk commodities that goes to international markets to export. This is Canadian potash and steel making coal. So potash is the product that is used in the production of fertilizers. Okay, and we use fertilizers in agriculture, and because the global population is growing, the demand for fertilizers will be growing as well. We have a province in Canada called Saskatchewan, and Saskatchewan is the biggest in terms of all these natural resources, and one of the resources it has is potash. So it's being exported to global market using train, and in the back you see different trains. So here's a very interesting area in that facility where the trains come in, and this large piece of equipment rotates the train and empties in 90 seconds. Unfortunately, we couldn't witness it during our visit, but we were told it just takes 90 seconds to empty one rail car of train. And as soon as it's emptied, these rail cars come from Saskatchewan to this facility, and then by these conveyors and elevators, they poured inside this bulk ship and transported to international markets. So our students had a chance to see that. Another product that is being exported through this terminal is steel making coal. So this coal is used in manufacturing of steel. And these products, mainly both potash and coal, going to Asian markets as the final destination. So here's another terminal where we went with our students. That's a Delta Port. It's a Canada's largest container terminal. And this container terminal facilitates both export and import. Okay, so pay attention. Some terminals facilitate exports and facilitate both export and import. So this terminal has the capacity to accommodate some of the largest ships that come to Canada. And they also have railway inside the terminals. So we went with our students to this terminal maybe 4 or 5 times in the past 3 years. All right, I mentioned previously some of the commodities coming to Canada and some of the export and import moves, but here is the list of the imports that countries that dominate Canadian imports. Again, imports is about bringing products in, and because of our proximity to Asia, as I said previously, of course, these countries in Asia dominate the imports as well. These are China, South Korea, and United States. Everything starting from household items, continuing to electronics and other finished products we typically buy from these countries. And our exports the exports is what Canada sells, go to countries like China, Japan, and South Korea. And among the export products, these are agriculture products. I mentioned previously grain and wheat, Canada, and lentils. So Canada is a global leader in producing this. It's also oil and gas products, and it's also lumber and wood products. So Canada is also one of the leading nations in the world in producing of these products. Another product that also dominates Canadian export is uranium. I mentioned it as well. So this product is used in production of electricity. And we export uranium mostly to North America, Latin America, Asia, and Europe. I think I saw some questions maybe before I jump in. Okay, I see a question. Are there any partnership between Accent and companies that operate around the port? No, we don't have partnership with the port companies. So as at the start of my presentation, Brent mentioned a different organization Accent is affiliated with, and I said FITT and CITT. So these organizations have different events, and sometimes we ask them for specific events, and they help us to organize this kind of trips to this facilities. Sometimes the trips are available through the ports or their terminals for public in summer months, especially. So we organize and take students as well. Sometimes we just ask these organizations, but it's not only port facilities that we take our students, because this presentation is specifically about ports. I speak about ports. In the past 3.5 years, we have organized close to 30 different logistics related trips for our students that include also warehousing, that include also manufacturing facilities, different service facilities. So no, we don't have direct relation with any port, and we just do it through different organizations, and we have different way of doing that. I have some question about scholarship. Probably Brent will answer them later. Um, are there internship opportunities to do while studying? Uh, in hospital, if your question about, I don't know what your question is about BBA or BHM. If your question about hospitality program, so we have 6 months internships that students undergo while studying. If your question is about BBA program, we have what we call practicum. So these are the 3 months at the end of the study, work-related projects that students engage in, but we're considering expanding it to the 6 months in a very close future. I'll hold some questions probably to the end. I'm aware of the time limits. So, and this is pretty much coming to the end of my presentation. As I said, the Port of Vancouver, when the goods arrive to Port of Vancouver by ship, they definitely need to be distributed inland in Canada and United States, because this is such a big land. And they can be distributed typically in two ways. Okay, so one is rail and one is by truck. I'm excluding air here because the air can fly pretty much from any destination directly in country. So I'm speaking mostly about land transportation, which is rail and trucks. But the rail really dominates here, because when you move bulk products, so rail, of course, come as advantageous mode of shipment. So one rail locomotive with 200 rail cars can easily replace 200 trucks from the road, right? It's a cost effective. You don't need to have 200 drivers, it's just one locomotive. And it also can carry huge amount of cargo at very low cost. So this is the screenshot I made from Canadian National. So Port of Vancouver is one of the 3 cities in North America which have 3 Class 1 railroads. Probably Class 1 may not mean a lot for you, but Class 1 railways are the large railways which have a good connection, a geographical connection to different locations inside the country. They also have lots of money, would say this way, can handle different types of cargo. So that would make Class 1 railway, Class 1 railway. And the profit and operating budget is over $250 million every year. So we have 6 Class 1 railways in North America, and 2 of them are Canadian, which is great. So one is Canadian National and one is Canadian Pacific Kansas City. So Kansas City was US railway. A few years ago, it was acquired by Canadian Pacific, which gives this railway access to coast to coast to coast. That's what we call it, to Pacific, Atlantic Ocean, and also to the Gulf of Mexico. So which really diversifies the opportunities these railways can bring. So, and a huge advantage to Canadian companies as well. And if you look at this map really shows key destinations, and I mentioned different products being exported by Canada, and these products mostly come from these provinces. And because I'm speaking about Port of Vancouver, and because geographically close to Port of Vancouver, obviously anything inside British Columbia, the next province is province of Alberta, and the next province of Saskatchewan. All these provinces mostly export their goods through the Port of Vancouver, and imports that come to Canada also go to these provinces through the Port of Vancouver and railroads. And these railroads facilitate that. One railroad on that list is BNSF. This is American Railway. It's Burlington North Santa Fe. And you may say, how is American Railways connected to Vancouver? It actually brings coal to one of the Port of Vancouver terminals from Montana and other states. So it's closer for it to bring coal to Canadian ports rather than to US ports. Again, that shows the significance of Canadian ports in global transportation and global trade, and also for Canadian economy. All right, again, I'm aware of my time, and if you like this presentation, I will be happy to do more presentation related to trade, related to international business, related to supply chain and different modes of transportation, maybe at the different time. Okay, I have a question here, and probably after that question, Brent, I'll go over to you. Does this port connect with China, or it goes through Pakistan like Karachi or other ports? No, there's no direct connection because there's a Pacific Ocean. I don't know when you joined our conversation, Mohammed, but the port facilitate trade with countries you mentioned through ocean transportation by large ships such as container ships or bulk ships. So we export there our bulk products like wheat, canola oil, and oil and gas products, and we buy already products from this country, like everyday household items. This is my email. If you have specific questions, feel free to reach. If you have general question about Accenda and our program, so email is on the screen. I'll keep this slide for maybe 1 minute or two if someone decides to make a screenshot or take a picture. But other than that, over to you, Brent, to answer other questions.
Okay, thank you, Fuat. Sorry to interrupt. I saw you have been answering the first questions related to the port. We have so many questions related to the program and admission processes and visa requirements and okay, some questions that Brent can help us out with. Okay, Brent, what do you say if I ask you the questions and you answer them out loud? Is that okay?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so Jospin asks, does Accenda have a scholarship for international students?
Yes, we do. We have a package of different types of financial support. And when you submit your application to Accenda, we automatically evaluate you for all available grants, awards, scholarships. Um, there's an entry scholarship for international students that's worth about 12,000 Canadian dollars. And we also have a laptop grant and a smaller grant that helps you prepare for your visa application process. Those are each worth around $500. Once you've been studying at Accenda, you're also evaluated for academic and leadership-based scholarships. So those are also going to help you. The largest grant that we provide, though, would be our international admissions grant that you receive upon receiving an offer letter or an admissions letter into Accenda. One really beneficial thing about Canada as well as a destination country for international students is that throughout the course, throughout your bachelor's degree program at Accenda, you'll be able to work part-time while taking classes, so that helps you financially. You can also take one academic term off per year, and during that break, you can work full-time. And so students usually find that really helpful in helping financially plan for their bachelor's degree. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And since you mentioned the visa, what about the visa requirements? And if you
Yeah.
can explain how it works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. So the basic steps are that you submit your online application to Accenda along with the supporting documents, and we'll complete an admissions evaluation within 1 to 2 business days. We move quite quickly. So then you'll receive a letter of offer from us, which is like your proof that you've been accepted into our bachelor's program, you've met our requirements. And in that offer letter, you'll have an outline of the next steps you need to take. One of them, so the most important next step, it would be to pay your tuition deposit for Accenda, which is usually about 7,000 Canadian dollars. Once you've paid your deposit, that allows us to issue the first immigration related document, which is the letter of acceptance, LOA. That has all the information about your academic program that you'll be completing in Canada. And then following that, you'll work with our admissions office, and we also have a team of recommended immigration specialists that we'll connect you with. They'll help you prepare your study plan, all of your financial documents, and you'll also receive a second immigration document, which is called the provincial attestation letter. You'll take all of those documents and then actually apply for your student visa to come to Canada. But our team will be working there side by side with you to make sure you have all the documents and providing advice about how to prepare everything so that you have the best chances possible to be approved for your study permit, your visa.
Okay, thank you. We have a question related to the level of English students need to have. What
Yeah.
can you say about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to be admitted to Exenda directly into our first English class. We call that direct entry. You'll have several different options for meeting the English proficiency for that. We accept about 7 different English tests. The most popular or common ones would be the IELTS academic test or the TOEFL IBT. In order to get direct entry, we're looking for an IELTS of 6.5 with none of the individual sections lower than 6.0. On the TOEFL, that would be an overall score of 90 with a minimum of 18 in reading and listening, 18 in speaking, and 22 in writing. All of that information is listed on our website, and I'll actually drop the URL in the chat as well so that you can take a look, because we also accept Pearson, we accept Cambridge. There's quite a few different options for meeting English proficiency. If you're not quite at the TOEFL 90 or IELTS 6.5 level, we do have a couple of different English pathway courses that we offer at Exenda, and you'll receive the exact same study permit and visa. You'll just need to do a couple of support classes during your first couple of terms at Exenda. So you're able to receive admissions with a 5.5 IELTS, and you'll join our EAPP 090 class for students at that level. And we have an English resource center and a number of classes that will help you be prepared to take all of the bachelor's level coursework. We also have a pathway for students with an IELTS of 6.0 or equivalent, where you can already start taking some of the bachelor's classes in business and beginning coursework of the bachelor's degree while you take English 103 and 104. So all of those are within Exenda, and you'll have access to all the support services, all the student experience alongside the direct entry students. But I'd recommend you to take a look at our website and then reach out if you have any questions or need any clarification about what those English options look like.
Okay, in fact, Rafael Gonzalez is asking, I took a TOEIC, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, maybe, is it TOEIC?
Yeah, TOEIC exam, and I got 950 out of 1,000 points. Would that be enough?
Yeah, the TOEIC is not one that we generally accept, but I'd be happy to inquire about that if we can look at it closely with our admissions office and see. Usually with all of the different English options, you have like a table that shows how they match up to each other. So it could be that that's equivalent to an IELTS of 6 or an IELTS 6.5. And I'd be happy to look into that more closely, Rafael. Maybe if you'd like to send an email to our info@exenda email address with the details of your English test and kind of what program you're interested in, our team will follow up with you right away about that.
Okay, perfect. So Rafael, if you heard the question, okay.
Thank you, Fuat, for putting it in the chat.
Okay, Fuat, leave it here. I'm going to leave it open for everyone. Okay, info. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Rafael. You can contact the admissions team of Exenda whenever you want. Also, if you want to write down your email here, I can pass your email to Brent, and they are going to contact you, of course. So one last question, Brent. Beside the admission requirements, they asked us, when is the deadline to apply?
Yeah, very good question. I might start opposite order quickly. So I just want everyone to be aware that the application process isn't that difficult as long as you have your documents. So we have an application form that should take you maybe 5 minutes to fill out. And then we'd need a scan of your passport or other government issued photo ID. So that can just be a PDF that you upload into the application form. There is a statement of purpose that we ask students to write, but the form is on our website and there's instructions and a guide about what we're looking for. Basically, we just want to know a little bit more about your story and what you're hoping to accomplish, how the Exenda bachelor's degree will help you prepare for your career goals. That's really what we're looking for in the statement of purpose. We do ask for PDF copies of your academic transcripts, and usually that would be a high school transcript showing all the coursework and grades you received in high school. And many times students will have a native language copy of their transcripts, and then we would also ask for an English translation of that as well so that we can see how the courses align with Canada. If any of you have already done a bachelor's degree in your home country, or you've maybe studied for 1 or 2 years at the college level, like I said at the beginning, we're very good about giving transfer credit to that type of student. So then maybe you can come to Exenda for 2.5 years or 3 years instead of 4. But in that case, we would want to see your college transcripts or your bachelor's degree transcripts from your previous institutions as well. So those are the main things that are required. We don't have an application fee, so that's pretty attractive. And like I said, we do our admissions evaluation within 1 to 2 business days, and then you'll hear from us about whether or not you were accepted. In terms of deadlines, we're very fortunate because we have a new term or a new intake starting every 3 months. And so you don't need to worry about, oh, I missed the deadline. Now I have to wait an entire year. We have another one coming every 3 months. So we have a group of students that will join us in about 1 month, and then another group that will join us at the end of September, and then another group that will join us in early January. I would recommend, based on the current application and especially the visa processing times for Canada right now, I would consider or encourage you to think about maybe the January intake, January 2026, as maybe being the most realistic and good intake to plan for. That'll give you plenty of time to get all of your documents and apply for your visa and then travel to Canada on time. But like I said, we're really flexible and we have a really accommodating academic calendar. So reach out to us and we'll be happy to help you kind of plan and consider which timelines make the most sense. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we have several questions that have just arrived. I don't know, Brent, if you're able to answer all of them, but let's try, okay?
Sure.
How much is the price for the program marketing management? Okay, do you
Yeah.
know, do you remember by memory?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can
okay.
give you a good rough estimation, and
Okay.
then, like I said, reach out to us and we can give you the exact details. But if you're straight out of high school and you're not bringing in any transfer credits to Exenda, then you'd be doing 4 years, 40 courses to earn the bachelor's in marketing management. And the price on that is about 73,000 Canadian dollars, less or minus the financial aid that we're going to give you. And like I said, that can range, between $10,000 to $14,000. So I think that leaves you with a rough net tuition for the 4 years of around 59 or 60,000 Canadian dollars. I think that's a good general price range. Again, if you've already done college level coursework and have transfer credits, though, that can reduce the study time and reduce the price tag as well.
Okay, perfect. Another question, are there any online courses I can do as an engineering student?
Very interesting question. We haven't really been set up to deliver online courses since the COVID pandemic when we had to shift online. I don't think we're currently offering any online certifications or coursework, but that's really interesting. And I'd love if you kind of reach out to us to, ask for more information because it's something we'd love to offer in the near future. And we can maybe add you to our mailing list or our prospect list for looking for online coursework. And then we can reach out to you as soon as something's ready to go.
Okay, so Naloliwa, you can write directly to Accenda and ask about this. We have also a question related to engineering. Someone is asking, I want to study civil engineering in mines. Which of the study projects you offer would you recommend?
Yeah, I may potentially pass this one over to Fuat. It really depends on what your career objective looks like. If you are looking for an engineering bachelor's degree, then we probably wouldn't be the right institution for you. But if you've already done coursework in engineering and now you're looking to add on management, leadership, business skills to complement the STEM skills you already have, then we could be a great fit for that. Maybe Fuat, have you worked with any students that have come from an engineering background? How does it kind of fit in with international business? Anything you'd like to add there?
We have students coming with different backgrounds for sure. But as you said, we are not the engineering focused school, so we don't have this program at all. So I want to be very upfront. But we have students who wish to have a different degree in Canada rather than repeating the same degree from their home country. So that's probably why they choose Canada. And if this is the case, then yes, we have a variety of programs. Some of our program, for example, focus on MIS, Management of Information System. So students learn more technical skills here, like cybersecurity, coding, like this type of skills. We have more like hospitality program. It's more focused on hospitality industry. We have program focused on like marketing was asked to the HR, accounting. Accounting learn directly what typically accountants do, and they also have affiliation with professional bodies. So again, our most focus is on management and leadership type of professions.
Okay, thank you, Fuad. And since you're here, I have one last question for you. It's related to the sea life. Arnold is asking, does these activities carried out at the port of are interfering with sea life organisms?
Oh, I think I mentioned it previously. Yes, the Port of Vancouver takes like it seriously when it comes to environment and marine life. The Port of Vancouver itself is, I believe, Green Marine certified. It also facilitates its activity based on the mandate of Canadian Marine Act. So one of the expansion projects in Port of Vancouver that has been delayed for many years was the Roberts Bank 2 terminal, which is a deep water terminal, and it has been delayed because of environmental impact. It took several years to do the whole environmental impact, which impacts both life in the sea and on shore, birds and fish like whales. So they really take this matter seriously. Noise, air pollutions are taken seriously by the port. Yes, of course they do.
Okay. Okay. And the last question is for me. I just saved it for me. Christian, you're asking me about the certificate. And here I leave you all the link to get the certificate of attendance for this webinar. And I think we are arriving to the end. Okay.
I just would like to add one
Yes.
thing. We have had many conversations with industry professionals, and supply chain is one. And when I say supply chain, it also includes warehousing, transportation, and all of these related activities. Is one of the most in demand, let's say, professions in Canada. Last year, it was some changes in immigration run by the government of Canada, and they identified priorities for the future of Canadians, and they identified five priorities, and transportation and supply chain was one of the main priorities, and it's still the priority. They lifted these restrictions. There's no any more discussion like this, but it doesn't change government priorities. So transportation will remain. Canada is growing. Canada is growing, and population of the world is growing as well. So demand for Canadian goods is growing, and demand for goods in Canada is growing. So this will literally tell us that will be continuous growth of Canadian supply chain network, which will increase the need and demand for professionals in this field. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Fuad, and thank you, Brent, for this interesting debate and presentation. Thank you, everyone, for joining us and for all the questions you have made. Before I say goodbye, I would like to ask our panelists if they would like to leave our participants with a message, with a final message.
I think I made my final message, Brent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's such important and great information to pass along to people. Absolutely. This program is extremely aligned to the needs of the workforce in the future for Canada and globally. And Canada is probably among the best places to be an international student because of all those support structures that we talked about, the ability to work during your program and afterwards, and also just being in a very vibrant, multicultural city that's going to make you feel really welcome. I think Vancouver is great for that. The only other thing I'd like to say, please reach out to us at the info@extended.com email address and visit our website, follow our social media pages. When you reach out to us with any questions, it would be great if you can let us know that you first heard about Extenda via the We Uni webinar with Fuat and I. We would just love to have that information. So please reach out. Our team's really friendly and they'll be really helpful. But I would encourage you to share that information with us.
Okay, thanks again, Fuat and Brent, and thank you everyone connected with us today. And I hope to see you again in the next webinar organized by We Uni. Bye, everyone.
Flora,
and yeah,
sorry, Flora, apologies. I think we may have just had a hand raised there.
Okay.
Yao?
Yes.
Sorry to cut you off.
Sorry, yeah. Yo, okay. We have Yo here. Are you hearing us? Your microphone is off.
Hello, yeah.
Okay. Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. So I wanted to ask a question. I think that I was having a network problem here, so I wasn't hearing perfectly what y'all saying. But I want to ask a question. Ascenda University. I'm not sure whether I got the name right, but is it more about postgraduate, programs or just a bachelor's degree?
Yeah. Great
Okay,
question.
thank you.
Yeah. So our current focus is at the bachelor's level. All of our programs are Bachelor of Business Administration with specializations or Bachelor of Hospitality Management. We hope to begin offering postgraduate, aka master's degree level courses in the future as well. So reach out or follow us on social media. We'll be sure to share, as soon as we have that level as well. I do want to emphasize, though, we do have a lot of students that come and complete a second bachelor's degree at Extenda. So we're really well equipped for students who have a bachelor's degree from their home country, but would like to come to Canada and complete a bachelor's degree in Canada too. So hopefully that answers your question. It's a really good one.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Yo, and thank you everyone for being connected here on this webinar. I hope you have a nice day or afternoon, depending on where you're hearing us from. Goodbye.